Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to Bright Days, your new favorite corner on YouTube, where we focus on inspiring each other to live simpler, happier, and more fulfilling lives. If you're new here, I'm thrilled that you found us. This channel is dedicated to all the wonderful seniors out there who want to create a more organized and joyful living space. Today, we're going to dive into a topic that's not only important but also transformational: decluttering your home and mastering your space. As we age, many of us accumulate a lifetime of memories, belongings, and yes, sometimes a bit of clutter. It's completely natural. Our homes can start to feel a little overwhelming, and that's why it's essential to find ways to simplify our surroundings. In this video, I'll share with you 16 tiny changes that seniors like you and me can make to declutter our homes and regain control over our living spaces. These changes are not about perfection, but about progress, small steps that can lead to significant improvements over time. Now, before we jump into these changes, let's talk a little about what makes Bright Days special. Here, we believe in the power of community and sharing experiences. This channel is all about connecting with each other, learning and growing together. We want to create a space where everyone feels welcome, valued, and encouraged to share their own journeys. So, if you find our content helpful, please consider subscribing and joining our growing family of vibrant seniors who are on a mission to create homes that truly spark joy. You might be wondering, why focus on decluttering? Well, decluttering is not just about tidying up. It's about creating an environment that reflects who you are today. Research shows that a clean and organized space can significantly enhance our mental well-being. It can reduce stress, increase our sense of control, and even improve our overall happiness. By simplifying our surroundings, we allow our minds to breathe and make room for what truly matters. In the spirit of our journey today, I encourage you to grab a cup of tea or your favorite beverage, find a comfortable spot, and settle in. As we explore these 16 tiny changes, I want you to think about your own home. What areas feel overwhelming? Where do you find clutter creeping in? Remember, this is not about making drastic changes overnight. It's about taking small, manageable steps that fit your lifestyle and pace. Throughout this video, I'll be referencing some powerful ideas from the best-selling book Atomic Habits by James Clear. This book has helped millions of people, including myself, to build better habits and break free from feelings of overwhelm. I'll share specific concepts and practical tips from the book that are tailored for seniors. By incorporating these principles into our lives, we can transform not just our homes, but also our mindsets. As we move along, feel free to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments section below. I'd love to hear about the changes you've made or the challenges you're facing. Remember, you are not alone on this journey. We are all in this together, supporting one another as we create brighter days ahead. So, without further ado, let's dive into these 16 tiny changes that can help you declutter and master your home. Together, we'll explore each change and how it can make a meaningful difference in your life. Are you ready? Let's get started. Why decluttering matters. Welcome back, dear friends. In this part of our video, we're going to discuss why decluttering is so important, especially for us seniors. Many of us have spent decades accumulating belongings, memories, and yes, a bit of clutter. While our possessions can hold sentimental value, they can also weigh us down emotionally and physically. So, let's explore the significance of decluttering and how it can positively impact our lives. First and foremost, let's talk about mental well-being. Research has shown that a clean and organized environment can significantly reduce stress and anxiety. When we look around our homes and see clutter, it can create feelings of overwhelm and chaos. This clutter can be a constant reminder of unfinished tasks and responsibilities, which adds to our mental load. By decluttering our spaces, we create a sense of calm and order that allows us to relax and enjoy our surroundings. Think about it for a moment. When was the last time you walked into a room that felt cluttered and chaotic? How did it make you feel? Now, imagine walking into a space where everything has its place, where surfaces are clear, and where you can breathe easily. That feeling of peace is what we're striving for with decluttering. It's about creating a sanctuary within our homes a place where we can recharge and find joy. Moreover, decluttering can enhance our physical well-being. As we age, moving around our homes can become more challenging. Clutter can create obstacles and hazards, increasing the risk of trips and falls. By simplifying our living spaces, we can make our homes safer and more accessible. This is especially crucial for seniors who may have mobility issues. A clutter-free environment allows for easier navigation and can help us maintain our independence for longer. Now, let's take a moment to reflect on our emotional attachments to our belongings. It's perfectly normal to hold on to items that remind us of cherished memories or loved ones. However, it's essential to recognize when these possessions start to become burdensome. The emotional weight of clutter can be significant. By letting go of items that no longer serve us, we can honor our past while making room for new experiences and memories. To illustrate this point, let me share a personal story. A few years ago, I found myself holding on to a collection of old books that I had loved in my youth. While they held wonderful memories, they were taking up valuable space on my shelves. After some reflection, I decided to donate them to a local library. It was a bittersweet moment, but I realized that by letting go, I was sharing those stories with others and making space for new ones in my life. This act of decluttering felt liberating and allowed me to appreciate the memories without the physical burden. In addition to these benefits, decluttering can also improve our focus and productivity. When our environment is organized, we can think more clearly and efficiently. This clarity can lead to better decision-making and a greater sense of accomplishment in our daily tasks. Whether it's cooking in a tidy kitchen or working on a hobby in an organized space, a clutter-free environment encourages us to engage more fully in our activities. As we move forward in this video, I want you to keep these thoughts in mind. Decluttering is not just a chore, it's a pathway to a happier, healthier life. It's about creating a home that reflects who you are today and supports your current lifestyle. The journey of decluttering is a personal one, and it's perfectly okay to take it at your own pace. So, I encourage you to think about your own home as we continue with our 16 tiny changes. What areas feel overwhelming? How can you start to create a space that feels lighter and more joyful? Remember, this is a journey we're on together, supporting each other every step of the way. The 1%. We're going to explore one of the most powerful concepts from James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, which is the 1% rule. This principle is all about making small, consistent improvements over time, and it can be a game changer when it comes to decluttering and organizing our homes. So what does the 1% rule mean? Essentially, it suggests that if you improve by just 1% every day, those small changes will compound over time to create significant results. Think about it. It's not about making huge transformations overnight, but rather focusing on the tiny steps that lead to meaningful progress. For us, especially as seniors, this approach respects our pace and acknowledges our unique challenges. Let's dive deeper into how we can apply the 1% rule to decluttering. Imagine looking at your entire home and feeling overwhelmed by the sheer volume of stuff you have. It can be daunting and make you want to give up before you even start. But if we break it down into smaller, manageable tasks, it becomes much more achievable. Instead of thinking, I need to declutter the entire house, you can say, today I'll focus on just one small area, like a single drawer in the kitchen. For example, take a look at your junk drawer, the one that seems to collect everything from rubber bands to old batteries. Set a timer for just 5 or 10 minutes, and dedicate that time to sorting through it. You might be surprised at how much you can accomplish in such a short period. The key here is to remember that every little bit counts. By focusing on one small area, you're making your space 1% better, and over time, those 1% improvements will add up. Let me share a personal anecdote to illustrate the power of this rule. A few months ago, I decided to tackle my closet, which had become a bit chaotic over the years. Instead of trying to clean it all in one day, I committed to spending just 10 minutes each day on it. On the first day, I focused on one shelf, clearing out clothes I hadn't worn in years. The next day, I tackled another shelf. Before I knew it, after just a week of small efforts, My closet was transformed into an organized space that I could easily navigate. It felt liberating to see the results of my efforts, and it reminded me that small changes can lead to significant outcomes. Another great aspect of the 1% rule is that it allows us to honor our physical limitations. As we age, we may not have the same energy levels we once did, and that's perfectly okay. The beauty of this approach is that it encourages you to take action without feeling overwhelmed. You can still make progress, even on days when you're feeling tired or unmotivated. On those days, remember that even the tiniest action counts. Maybe it's simply sorting through a few items on your coffee table, or putting away a pair of shoes that have been left out. Each of these small actions contributes to a more organized space. Now, I want to encourage you to think about your own home. What is one tiny change you can make today to create a 1% improvement? It could be as simple as clearing off one small surface, sorting through a stack of mail, or putting away a few items that have accumulated in a common area. Remember, it's not about perfection, it's about progress. As we continue on this journey together, I invite you to embrace the 1% rule and see how it can transform your approach to decluttering. By taking small steps, you'll find that the process becomes less daunting and more manageable. And as those tiny improvements accumulate, you'll create a home that feels lighter, more organized, and more reflective of who you are today. The habit loop and how to apply it. This idea comes from James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, and understanding it can empower us to build lasting habits that support our decluttering efforts. The habit loop consists of 4 key components: cue, craving, response, and reward. Let's break each one down and see how we can apply them to our daily lives. First, let's talk about the cue. A cue is a trigger that reminds us to take action. In the context of decluttering, we need to create cues that prompt us to declutter regularly. For instance, you might place a small box or basket by the door. Every time you see it, it serves as a gentle reminder to add something you no longer need. Perhaps it's an old book you've finished reading, or a piece of clothing that no longer fits. This visual cue makes it easier to remember your decluttering goals and encourages you to take action. Next up is craving. This step involves the desire to take action. Often we don't wake up craving to declutter. It can feel like a chore. But what if we shift our focus to what decluttering gives us? By thinking about the benefits of a tidy space, a calmer environment, reduced stress, and increased clarity, we can create a stronger craving to maintain our habits. Imagine how satisfying it will feel to walk into a clean, organized room. Keeping that end result in mind can make the process of decluttering more appealing. Now let's move on to the response. This is the actual action we take in response to the cue. It's essential to keep this action simple and manageable, especially for us as seniors. Instead of trying to declutter an entire room in one go, focus on just one small area. For example, you could set a timer for 10 minutes and work on organizing one shelf or drawer. This way, you're not overwhelming yourself, and you can complete the task without feeling exhausted. Remember, every small action contributes to the bigger goal of a clutter-free home. Finally, we reach the reward. This step is all about reinforcing the habit by giving yourself something to look forward to after completing a decluttering task. Rewards don't have to be extravagant. They simply need to feel satisfying to you. For instance, after you've finished organizing a small area, take a moment to enjoy the results. Sit in your newly cleared space, sip a cup of tea, or treat yourself to a favorite snack. This positive reinforcement helps your brain associate decluttering with feelings of accomplishment and joy, making you more likely to repeat the habit in the future. To illustrate how the habit loop works, let's put it all together with a practical example. Suppose you want to develop a habit of decluttering your living room. Start by placing a donation box in the corner of the room as your cue. When you see the box, it reminds you to declutter. Focus on the craving, visualize how peaceful and inviting your living room will feel once it's organized. When you feel motivated, respond by taking just 5 minutes to sort through a few items. Finally, reward yourself by enjoying a moment of relaxation in your tidy space. As we wrap up this discussion about the habit loop, I encourage you to think about how you can implement these 4 components into your daily life. What cues can you set up to remind yourself to declutter? How can you create a craving for a cleaner, more organized space? What small actions can you take? And how will you reward yourself for your efforts? Remember, building new habits takes time and consistency, but by understanding the habit loop, you're well on your way to creating a more organized and peaceful home. The 2-minute rule. This rule is incredibly effective for helping us overcome inertia and get started on decluttering tasks that can often feel overwhelming. The essence of the 2-minute rule is straightforward. If a task takes less than 2 minutes to complete, do it right away. This approach can be a game changer, especially for seniors who may find larger decluttering projects daunting. So why is the 2-minute rule so effective? First and foremost, it addresses the common challenge of procrastination. When faced with a cluttered living space, it's easy to feel overwhelmed and think, where do I even begin? However, by focusing on tasks that can be completed in just 2 minutes, we remove that overwhelming feeling and replace it with a sense of accomplishment. It's about breaking down the larger task of decluttering into bite-sized pieces that feel manageable. Let's consider some practical examples of how you can apply the 2-minute rule in your daily life. Imagine you walk into your living room and see a pile of magazines stacked on the coffee table. Instead of thinking, I need to clean this entire room, which can feel daunting, you could simply commit to taking 2 minutes to sort through the magazines. You might decide to recycle the ones you've already read, or put the ones you want to keep in a designated spot. In just 2 minutes, you've made a small but meaningful improvement to your space. Another common scenario is dealing with mail. We all know how quickly mail can pile up. Instead of letting it accumulate on the counter, take 2 minutes to sort through it. As soon as it arrives, toss out any junk mail and file away the important documents. This small action not only keeps your space tidy, but also prevents the stress of having to deal with a larger pile later on. One of the most significant benefits of the 2-minute rule is that it builds momentum. Once you complete one small task, you often find that it's easier to tackle another. For instance, after you've sorted through the magazines, you might feel motivated to take another 2 minutes to clear off a shelf in your kitchen or put away shoes that have been left out. It's like a snowball effect. One small action leads to another, and before you know it, you've made a considerable impact on your space. It's also essential to remember that on days when you're feeling particularly tired or unmotivated, the 2-minute rule gives you permission to do just a little. Even if you can only commit to 2 minutes, that's still progress. It's about recognizing that every little effort counts, and over time, those small efforts add up to significant changes in your home. To illustrate this further, let's imagine a scenario where you've had a long day and don't feel like doing much. Instead of skipping decluttering altogether, remind yourself of the 2-minute rule. You could set a timer for 2 minutes and tackle an easy task, like wiping down a kitchen counter or folding a blanket that's been draped over a chair. You might find that once the timer goes off, you want to keep going. As we wrap up this section on the 2-minute rule, I encourage you to think about how you can incorporate this principle into your daily routine. What are some tasks that you can complete in 2 minutes? Can you commit to doing them right away instead of letting them pile up? Remember, the goal here is not perfection, but progress. By embracing the 2-minute rule, you're setting yourself up for success and creating a decluttering habit that feels achievable and rewarding. The never miss twice rule. This rule is all about consistency and maintaining momentum in our decluttering efforts, even on days when we might not feel like doing much. The idea is simple. It's perfectly okay to miss a day of decluttering, but don't let it turn into 2 days in a row. This principle can help us stay on track and prevent us from falling back into old habits. So why is the never miss twice rule so important? As we all know, life can get busy, and sometimes we might find ourselves too tired or overwhelmed to tackle our decluttering tasks. Perhaps you had a lull day, or you're simply not feeling your best. It's natural to skip a day here and there. However, if we allow that skipped day to turn into a habit, we risk losing the progress we've made. That's where this rule comes into play. By committing to pick back up the next day, we maintain our momentum and keep our decluttering goals in sight. Let's take a moment to consider how this might look in practice. Imagine you've been diligently working on decluttering your home, and you've developed a routine that works for you. One evening, you're too tired to clear off the dining table after dinner. You think to yourself, "It's okay, I'll do it tomorrow." This is where the never miss twice rule comes in. It's perfectly fine to skip that task, but make it a priority to get back on track the very next day. The next morning, before you start your day, you can set aside just a few minutes to tackle that dining table. Maybe you'll spend 10 minutes putting away the dishes and clearing any clutter. By doing this, you're reinforcing the habit and showing yourself that it's possible to maintain your progress even on days when you feel less motivated. To illustrate this further, let me share a personal experience. A few weeks ago, I had a particularly busy week with family visiting, and I found myself skipping my usual decluttering routine. I didn't feel guilty about it. Life happens. However, I knew I had to get back on track. The following day, I made it a point to set a timer for just 15 minutes and focus on my living room. I took that small amount of time to organize a few items, and it felt amazing to see the progress I made. This made it much easier to continue with my routine the following day. Another key aspect of the never miss twice rule is that it allows for flexibility. Life is unpredictable, and sometimes we need to prioritize other responsibilities. However, if we can commit to maintaining our habits even when we're busy, we can prevent the clutter from piling up and becoming overwhelming once again. It's also helpful to develop a plan for those days when you might feel like skipping. Ask yourself, what is one small thing I can do today to keep my momentum going? This could be as simple as putting away a few items or spending a couple of minutes sorting through a small area. The goal is to keep the habit alive and show yourself that you're capable of maintaining your progress. As we conclude this segment on the never miss twice rule, I encourage you to think about how you can incorporate this principle into your decluttering routine. Remember, it's perfectly normal to have off days, but the key is to pick back up the next day. By committing to this rule, you'll continue to build positive habits and create a home that reflects your values and aspirations. Thank you for joining me in exploring the never miss twice rule. In the next segment, we'll dive into another concept that can transform our approach to decluttering: building your identity. Let's keep moving forward together. Building your identity. This idea emphasizes that our actions are a reflection of how we see ourselves. By changing our self-perception, we can create habits that align with our desired identity, particularly when it comes to decluttering and organizing our homes. So, what does it mean to build your identity in the context of decluttering? It's all about shifting the narrative you tell yourself about who you are. Many of us carry labels that I've accepted over the years. Perhaps you've told yourself, "I'm just a messy person," or "I've always struggled with being organized." But here's the empowering truth. You have the ability to reshape these beliefs. By starting to identify as someone who values order and cleanliness, you can begin to take actions that reinforce that identity. Let's break this down further. When you view yourself as a tidy person, your brain will naturally seek opportunities to align your actions with that identity. For example, every time you put something back in its proper place, you can affirm to yourself, "I am an organized person." This simple shift in self-talk can have a profound impact on your behavior. Each action reinforces the belief that you are capable of maintaining a tidy space, which in turn motivates you to continue those positive behaviors. Here's a practical example to illustrate this concept. Imagine you have a cluttered kitchen counter filled with items that don't belong there. Instead of thinking, "I'll never be able to keep this organized," start by telling yourself, "I am someone who values a clean kitchen." When you take the time to clear off that counter, you're not just tidying up, you're embodying your new identity. Another powerful way to reinforce your identity is through small commitments that align with the person you want to become. For instance, if you want to see yourself as a person who takes pride in their home, create a small habit that reflects that. You might commit to putting away one item every time you leave a room. This tiny action not only helps keep your space organized, but also strengthens your belief in your ability to maintain order. It's important to remember that building a new identity takes time and repetition. You won't change how you see yourself overnight. However, by consistently taking small actions that align with your desired identity, you'll gradually shift your self-perception. Celebrate these small victories along the way. Every time you successfully declutter or organize a space, remind yourself that you are becoming the person you wish to be. Let's also discuss the emotional aspect of this journey. As we age, many of us can feel tied to our past identities, especially if we've struggled with clutter for a long time. It's essential to acknowledge the emotions tied to these possessions and the memories they hold. However, recognize that letting go of items doesn't mean letting go of the memories. It simply means you're making space for new experiences and a new version of yourself. To help reinforce this new identity, consider creating visual reminders in your home. You might hang up a note or a quote that resonates with your goal of being organized. For example, a simple phrase like, "I create space for what matters," can serve as a daily reminder of the person you are becoming. As we wrap up this section on building your identity, I encourage you to reflect on how you see yourself in relation to decluttering and organization. What identity do you want to embrace? How can you start taking small actions today that align with that identity? Remember, friends, your home is a reflection of who you are and who you aspire to be. By changing the way you perceive yourself, you can create lasting habits that lead to a more organized and fulfilling life. Welcome back, friends. In this segment, we're going to discuss a crucial yet often overlooked aspect of decluttering, making it enjoyable. Many people view decluttering as a tedious chore, something they dread doing. However, it doesn't have to be that way. By incorporating elements of fun and enjoyment into the decluttering process, we can transform it into a rewarding experience. Let's explore some practical strategies to infuse joy into your decluttering journey. First and foremost, let's talk about the power of music. Music has an incredible ability to uplift our spirits and energize our actions. When you set out to declutter, consider creating a playlist of your favorite songs. Perhaps some upbeat tunes or nostalgic tracks that make you want to dance. Playing music while you declutter can turn what might feel like a chore into a celebration. As you sort through your belongings, you might find yourself humming along or even dancing a little. This not only makes the task more enjoyable, but also helps the time pass more quickly. Another excellent way to make decluttering enjoyable is by pairing it with an engaging podcast or audiobook. If you have a favorite author or a topic you're curious about, why not listen to something interesting while you work? This way, you're not just decluttering, you're also enriching your mind. You might find that you look forward to your decluttering sessions simply because they're an opportunity to enjoy a good story or learn something new. Let's also consider the social aspect of decluttering. Invite a friend or family member to join you in your decluttering efforts. Not only will you have someone to share the workload, but you'll also benefit from the companionship. As you sort through items together, you can reminisce about old memories attached to certain belongings, share laughs, and motivate each other to make decisions about what to keep and what to let go. Making it a social event can turn decluttering into a fun and interactive experience rather than a solitary task. Furthermore, think about creating little rewards for yourself as you make progress. After completing a decluttering session, treat yourself to something that brings you joy. This could be as simple as enjoying a cup of your favorite tea, taking a moment to sit in your newly organized space, or indulging in a piece of chocolate. These small rewards can help reinforce the positive feelings associated with decluttering and keep you motivated to continue. Another idea is to gamify the process. Set a timer for a short period, like 10 or 15 minutes, and challenge yourself to see how much you can declutter in that time. Treat it like a game. Can you fill a donation box or clear off a surface before the timer goes off? This creates a sense of urgency and excitement, making the task feel less daunting. Plus, you'll likely be surprised at how much you can accomplish in just a few focused minutes. It's also essential to maintain a positive mindset throughout the decluttering process. Remind yourself of the benefits of a tidy space, improved mental clarity, reduced stress, and a greater sense of peace. As you declutter, visualize how your home will feel once it's organized. This positive visualization can help motivate you to keep going, even when the task feels overwhelming. As we wrap up this segment on making decluttering enjoyable, I encourage you to experiment with these ideas and find what resonates with you. What activities can you pair with your decluttering sessions to make them more fun? How can you incorporate music, social interactions, or rewards into your routine? Remember, the goal is to create a process that feels rewarding and fulfilling, rather than a burden. By making decluttering enjoyable, you'll not only keep your home organized, but also cultivate a positive relationship with the act of cleaning and organizing. Thank you for joining me in this exploration of making decluttering enjoyable. In the next segment, we'll discuss the importance of rewarding yourself to strengthen your decluttering habits. Let's continue this journey together.